Auction ended. No one wanted the disgraced alien girl until a human raised his hand. Kale's hand shot up, a single, decisive gesture in the stifling, mineral-choked air of the Veldran auction arena. The humid heat from the surrounding lava flows made his worn combat jacket stick to his back. A murmur, sharp and disbelieving, rippled through the assembled alien bidders, their multiple eyes and complex vocalizations momentarily silenced. He ignored them. His gaze was fixed on the center of the ring. On her, she stood, defiant even in chains, a stunning enigma among the grotesque bidders. Her skin was a mosaic of bioluminescent patterns, currently dulled and lifeless, save for the angry red lines of a permanent bond-mark scar that marred the left side of her face and neck, a stark contrast to the perfect, flowing script on her unblemished right. Her body was lean, warrior-hard, encased in ceremonial rags that did little to hide the powerful musculature beneath. Twin humming throat nodes pulsed faintly with residual rage. This was Nyx, a disgraced enforcer, a ritual-proud heiress brought low. Kale had seen her bounty, understood the political implications. He just wanted a ship, a way out of this goddamn rock. But something in her eyes, a feral, untamed glint that mirrored his own jaded weariness, had snagged him. The auctioneer, a corpulent Xylian with too many eyes, sputtered, his proboscis twitching. A human? You bid on a Talar ritual, claimed disgraced? What fool's folly is this, off-worlder? Kale's voice was a low growl, rough with disuse and the dust of 100 forgotten systems. I bid. You heard me. What's the problem, Squidface? She's for sale, isn't she? Nyx's head snapped up, her glowing eyes, once dim, now flared with a furious intensity. She stared at him, a creature of pure, unadulterated contempt. Her lips, thin and precise, moved, forming a guttural Talar word that translated roughly to insolent, lesser. Oh, she speaks, Kale drawled, a smirk twisting his lips. Good, thought I bought myself a mute trophy. How much for the ex-enforcer? Don't look at me like that, sweetheart. You're property now. Mine. The last word hung in the air, a deliberate challenge, a direct affront to her warrior pride. He saw her shoulders tense, her chained fists clench. This was going to be fun, or it was going to get him killed. Either way, he was tired of being bored. The arena elders, cloaked figures seated above, began to stir, their ancient ritualistic murmurs growing louder, more agitated. He knew he'd just signed a contract not just for a commodity, but for a whole heap of Talar trouble. The auctioneer finally cleared his multiple throats. The human has offered a substantial credit deposit for the disgraced Talar female, Nyx, daughter of the Bloodspeaker's line. Does any other dare challenge the claim? His voice rang out, but the surrounding aliens, disgusted or intimidated, remained silent. No one wanted a disgraced warrior, especially one with a bond-marked scar signifying her prior ritual failure. Not at any price, let alone the obscene sum Kyle had offered. The silence was absolute. Going once! Going twice! Sold! To the human! Kale felt a ripple of grim satisfaction. He'd done it. He had no idea what he'd actually bought. But the feeling of sticking it to these self-important Zen scum was almost as good as a fresh bottle of synthale. He started walking towards the center of the ring. Towards her. Nyx watched him approach, her eyes narrowed, burning with a dangerous mix of hatred and a chilling, predatory curiosity. The chain on her ankle shimmered with the energy pulse of its restraint. Her lips curled back, revealing sharp, perfectly aligned teeth. You dare claim me, human? Her voice, though raw, held a resonant power, a low thrum that vibrated through the very stones of the arena. You know nothing of what you do. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing, darling, Kale retorted, reaching her, ignoring the armed Talar guards, who now flanked them, their energy spears buzzing. I just bought myself a ticket off this goddamn rock, and you're coming with me. Consider yourself the collateral, or the cargo, whatever works. He gestured to one of the guards, a stern-faced female with a gleaming, ornate spear. Unchain her, she's mine now. Ritual, right? Or did I misunderstand something? The guard hesitated, Then with a reluctant sigh, deactivated the ankle restraint. The energy field around Nyx's body flickered and died. She didn't move, didn't flee. Instead, her glowing eyes locked onto Kale's. Her hand, quick as a viper, shot out, fingers closing around his neck. Not a choke, not yet. It was a precise, possessive grip, her thumb pressing hard against his jugular, a gesture of dominance and a silent warning. Her humming throat nodes vibrated, a low growl escaping her lips. This is not simply cargo, human. You have bound yourself to me. Through my shame, you have chosen. And now, you will pay the price of my honor. The scent of her, metallic and something else, something primal and sharp, filled his nostrils. His heart hammered against his ribs. He was pretty sure he just bought a whole lot more than a ship and a lot less freedom. Her grip on his throat remained, a subtle warning, as the guards ushered them towards a waiting, armored transport. Kyle felt the thrum of her humming throat nodes against his palm as he deliberately placed his hand over hers, a reciprocal gesture of defiance and unexpected intimacy. "Price of your honor, huh?" he rasped, his voice rough. "Sounds expensive. Lucky for you, I'm good for it. And I got a feeling you're about to owe me for getting you out of that glorified pigsty." The transport was cramped, designed for multiple Talar, not one human and a pissed-off alien warrior. Nyx was pushed in first, her lean frame filling half the space. Kale followed, the door hissing shut behind them with a metallic clunk. Dim, red lights cast long, distorted shadows across her face. Nyx's eyes, still glowing with a furious light, tracked his every move. "You speak of pigs, human? You have claimed a war-bred female. This is not a market transaction. This is a ritual, a binding. By choosing me, you have accepted my dishonor and the consequences thereof." Her voice was low, laced with a dangerous edge, a guttural purr that suggested both threat and something deeper, more ancient. She shifted, her body pressing against his as the transport lurched forward, descending into the complex network of tunnels beneath the lava arena. Kale leaned back against the cool metal of the wall, letting the vibration of the engine hum through him. "Consequences, huh? I'm used to consequences, sweetheart. You think I'm here because I make smart decisions? News flash. I'm a jaded bounty hunter with a death wish and a bad credit rating. You're just a temporary fix to a bigger problem." He met her gaze, his own eyes unflinching. "Besides, you were stuck in a cage, now you're not. You're welcome." Her lips thinned into a predatory snarl. "Do not insult me with your human concepts of welcome. You did not free me. You claimed me. In my culture, this is an act of profound aggression or profound intimacy. Rarely, it is both." Her hand, which had remained on his throat, now moved, tracing the line of his jaw, her sharp nails barely grazing his skin. The touch was feather-light, yet intensely invasive. His skin prickled. "The bond mark. You know what this means, yes?" She gestured to the angry scar on her face. It throbbed, a dull red glow intensifying slightly. "I know it means you pissed off someone important enough to brand you," Kale said, deflecting. "Beyond that, nope, not my problem." "It is your problem now, human," she corrected, her voice low, almost a whisper, yet infused with an undeniable power. "This mark signifies a lost challenge, a failure of dominance, a ritualistic submission. By claiming me, you have declared yourself my new dominator, my new owner, and you have accepted the burden of my retrieval." Her eyes glittered. "My former clan will hunt me, and you, to the furthest reaches of the galaxy, if necessary." Kale snorted. "Great. More company, just what I needed. Look, I'm not anyone's owner. I'm Kale. And you're Nyx, right? We're partners in a temporary, highly inconvenient escape. That's it." He tried to push her hand away, but her grip tightened, surprisingly strong. "Partnership is a concept for equals," Nyx stated, her brow furrowing slightly, as if the notion was alien to her. "You claim me from the auction. Therefore, you are dominant. I am claimed. There are rituals, laws, blood, consequences. She seemed to be reciting, almost mechanically, as if explaining something fundamentally obvious that he was too primitive to grasp. Her thumb, still on his throat, began to press rhythmically, a slow, deliberate pulse. You feel the thrum of my nodes. It is my declaration. You are bound. He felt it, a low, persistent vibration that seemed to seep into his very bones, a strange resonance. It was disorienting, primal. He fought the urge to squirm, to pull away. Yeah, I feel it, he muttered, trying to project disinterest, though his skin was alive with an unfamiliar sensation. Just a little intimate for a business arrangement, wouldn't you say? Nyx's head tilted, her glowing eyes assessing him. Intimacy is the path of all true binding. Do your humans not understand this? Her voice was soft now, almost curious, yet still commanding. The claiming ritual, the public display, it seals the intent. It draws the blood. You have chosen to share my disgrace. Human. Now, you will share my path to survival or to death. The transport came to a sudden, jarring halt, throwing Kyle against her. He braced himself, his hands instinctively going to her shoulders, a desperate attempt to create space in the confined metal box. The door hissed open, revealing a team of armed Talar warriors. They were clad in crimson armor, their faces hidden behind menacing, sculpted masks. Well, shit, Kale breathed, pushing himself off Nyx. Speak of the devil. He drew his blaster, the familiar weight in his hand a small comfort. Nyx, meanwhile, didn't flinch. Her glowing eyes remained fixed on his, a spark of something new, not just fury, but a dangerous exhilaration lighting them. So much for a quiet exit. The lead warrior, a hulking figure with a crest of razor-sharp bone, stepped forward. The disgraced one, Nyx, and the human who has dared to claim her. The elders demand her return, and your disposal. His voice was a resonant rumble, amplified by the helmet. Disposal? Rough crowd, Kale quipped, aiming his blaster. Look, I just bought the girl. Didn't sign up for the whole being hunted by a death squad package. There's no return policy on this, is there? Nyx's humming throat nodes flared, a guttural growl erupting from her. You speak of policy? These are my former clan, human. They seek to reclaim what they believe is theirs, or to ensure my permanent erasure. They believe my disgrace contagious. Her eyes, burning with a dangerous light, flicked between Kyle and the armed Talar. You will fight, human, for your claim. For my claim? Kale scoffed. But he already knew the answer. He was surrounded. Fine, but if I get a permanent scar out of this, you're buying me a drink. He fired, his blaster bolt impacting the lead warrior's chest plate. Sparks flew, but the armor held. This wasn't going to be easy. Nyx, agile as a predator, lunged, moving with a fluid grace that belied her recent chains. Her hands, now free, snapped out, disarming one of the warriors with terrifying speed. She wielded the stolen energy spear like an extension of her own body, a whirl of deadly precision. You mock me, human? Nyx snarled, parrying a blow from another warrior, her body a blur. You think this is a jest? This is a test of your dominance, of your worthiness to claim what was lost. She moved closer to Kale, covering his flank as he emptied another clip into the advancing Talar. Her body radiated a fierce heat, a desperate energy. The bond-marked scar on her face seemed to pulse with a brighter, more angry glow, as if drawing power from the combat. Kale reloaded, cursing under his breath. Worthiness? I just bid on you because I thought you'd come with a ship, not a death squad and a cultural obligation. What the hell is this lost business? My honor, human, my station, lost in a challenge of ritual combat by one who now serves the elders. Nyx roared, plunging her spear into a warrior's armored joint. The Talar collapsed with a pained screech. And now, by claiming me, you have inherited my feud. It is a primal law. The bond must be sealed in blood and fury. Her eyes, wide and luminous, met his. There was no fear in them, only a burning, almost feral joy. This is the true binding, human, combat, blood. They fought back to back, Kale's blaster spitting plasma, Nyx's spear a deadly blur of motion. She was terrifyingly efficient, a living weapon. He found himself relying on her, trusting her movements, anticipating her attacks. Their bodies, though vastly different, moved in a desperate, deadly rhythm. A large warrior lunged at Kale, knocking his blaster from his hand. Before Kale could react, Nyx was there, a growl tearing from her throat. She slammed the butt of her spear into the warrior's head, incapacitating him, then pivoted, her back pressed hard against Kale's. "My thanks," Kyle gasped, retrieving his blaster. "Do not thank me, human," Nyx hissed, her voice ragged. "This is necessity for the survival of your claim." A brief, charged silence hung between them as the remaining warriors regrouped. Her body, hot and solid against his, sent a strange current through him. He could feel the rapid pulse of her heart, the subtle vibrations of her humming throat nodes, the raw metallic scent of her mingled with something else, something intoxicatingly feral. This wasn't just a fight, it was a desperate, physical dance. Her hand, smeared with alien blood, found his. Her grip was tight, possessive, drawing him closer. "So, this is how you Talar do business, huh?" Kale managed, a dark, sardonic laugh escaping him. "First an auction, then a knife fight. What's next, a full-blown war?" "Perhaps," Nyx purred, her eyes fixed on the approaching threat, yet her touch on his hand was surprisingly gentle, a possessive stroke. "War for our very existence, human. And should we survive this, there is a ritual yet to be fulfilled, a true sealing of the bond. For your claim to be recognized, by me, by the universe." Her voice dropped, a low, intimate hum that resonated deep in his chest. "Do not mistake my words. I do not submit to you, human. I merely acknowledge your act. And now, you must prove its worth, or die trying." Another wave of crimson-armored Talar warriors descended into the cavern. They had been driven deeper into the subterranean network, the sounds of battle echoing off the mineral walls. Kale's blaster was overheating, the barrel glowing faintly. Nyx's stolen spear was chipped, but she wielded it with undiminished ferocity, her movements precise, deadly. The humid air, thick with the scent of ozone and alien blood, clung to them. "Proving worth, huh? Just what every man wants to hear from his new chattel," Kale grunted, sidestepping a Talar strike and firing his blaster, dropping the warrior. He risked a glance at Nyx. Her bioluminescent patterns, once dull, were now pulsing with an erratic, furious energy, reflecting the raw power she exerted. The bond-marked scar on her face throbbed with an angry red light, like a fresh wound. Nyx spun, using her spear to deflect a blade. "You are not my chattel, human. You are my claimant. It is a distinction your primitive mind struggles with. You chose me. You initiated the ritual. Now you must bear the weight of it." She kicked a fallen warrior, sending him sprawling into a lava fissure. The smell of burning flesh filled the cavern for a moment. "Our escape path is limited. There is a single chamber ahead, a sanctuary point, often used for regrouping during clan disputes. We must reach it." They fought their way through, their movements becoming a desperate, synchronized dance. Kale found himself anticipating her shifts, her silent commands, his own actions molding around hers. He saw the flash of her eyes, the tensing of her muscles, and reacted, covering her blind spots, taking down threats she missed. It was terrifyingly efficient and disturbingly intimate. They burst into the chamber, a small, circular space carved into the living rock, illuminated by faintly glowing crystals. The air was cooler here. Still, before they could catch their breath, the heavy stone door hissed shut behind them, sealing them in. The sound of the pursuing warriors' shouts faded, replaced by the eerie silence of the chamber. Kale leaned against the rough-hewn wall, gasping, his chest heaving. "Well, that was invigorating. Your family's a bit overprotective, aren't they?" Nyx turned, her back to the door, facing him. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, her bioluminescent patterns still thrumming with residual energy. "They consider me a defilement, a weakness. Your claim on me is an insult to their dominance. My elders will not tolerate it." Her voice was raw, stripped of its usual commanding tone, revealing a flicker of true vulnerability. The bond mark is permanent. It signifies the failure of my own dominance in a prior ritual combat. By claiming me, you have accepted the burden of that failure and the need for its reversal. He pushed off the wall, moving closer, drawn by the raw emotion in her voice. Reversal? What the hell does that even mean? He watched her, seeing past the warrior, past the anger, to something fragile and desperate beneath. The scar pulsed, a stark reminder of her pain. Nyx reached out, her fingers tracing the path of the bond mark on her face, her eyes distant. It means the original bond must be severed, replaced by a new one, a stronger one, a consummated one. Her glowing eyes snapped back to his sharp, intense. This chamber, it is a neutral zone, a space where intent can be made clear. The air, it carries a faint, pheromonal signature from the crystals, a catalyst for the talar when tensions are high, when the need for dominance or submission is paramount. He felt it then, a subtle shift in the air, a warmth seeping into his skin, a strange, intoxicating scent that hummed with the same frequency as her throat nodes. It wasn't unpleasant, but it was undeniably potent. Pheromones? Seriously? Nyx stepped closer, closing the distance between them. Her hands, still smeared with alien blood, rested lightly on his shoulders. Her grip tightened, her fingers digging into the worn fabric of his jacket. My blood calls for completion, human. My dishonor demands it. The ritual you began, it must be finished. Now, before the elders find us again, this is not a choice. It is a biological imperative for survival. Her eyes, wide and luminous, were fixed on his, demanding, challenging. Her scent, musky and electric, filled his senses. The thrumming of her throat nodes intensified, a deep, resonant hum that vibrated through his own chest. Kale felt a primal heat rise within him, a desperate, animalistic urge that had nothing to do with logic or self-preservation. Her proximity, the pheromones, the sheer, raw intensity of her gaze, it was overwhelming. Imperative, huh? His voice was hoarse. And if I say no? Nyx's lips curled into a predatory smile, her eyes burning. Then you are a fool, human. You claimed a warrior. Now you must conquer her. Or be conquered. It is the Talar way. It is the only way this bond, this disgrace, can be undone. To establish the new claim. The new mastery. Her gaze dropped to his lips, then lower, to his groin. You started this. Now, finish it. Let your human dominance be known. Or I will know. Mine. Her hands slid from his shoulders, down his arms, seizing his wrists. She pulled him, hard, forcing his arms up, effectively pinning him against the wall. The rough stones scraped against his back. His breath hitched. Her strength was incredible, absolute. You call that a suggestion or a threat? He gasped, fighting the sudden surge of blood in his veins, the dizzying scent of her. It is a mating call. Human, Nyx whispered. Her voice, a low, primal growl. Her face, inches from his. Her humming throat nodes vibrated against his jaw as she pressed her body against his, molding herself to him. In Talar culture, a challenge initiated by a lesser must be met with overwhelming dominance by the claimant. Or, the claim is forfeit and the claimant disgraced. Her eyes, glowing in the dim light, were full of a savage, ancient hunger. You claimed me. Now take me. Prove your worth, Kale, or this bond will consume us both. Her hips rotated, pressing intimately against his. A jolt, sharp and electric, shot through him. There was no going back. The last flicker of Kale's resistance dissolved into the scorching heat of the chamber, the intoxicating rush of Nyx's pheromones, and the undeniable truth in her eyes. Her words, raw and demanding, resonated with a primal urge he hadn't known he possessed. He stopped fighting her grip, his arms dropping, and instead, his hands rose, tangling in her wild, dark hair. Her skin, where his fingers brushed, was warm, impossibly smooth beneath the rough texture of her tattered garments. "All right, fine," he rasped, his voice rough with a sudden, desperate need. "You want dominance, you got it. But don't think for a second this is about some damn ritual. This is about survival." He pulled her closer, crushing her mouth against his. Her lips were soft, surprisingly pliant, and tasted of metal and something wild, untamed. Her humming throat nodes vibrated fiercely against his, a deep, resonant sound that seemed to shake the very foundations of the chamber. Nyx met his kiss with a ferocious intensity, a growl rumbling deep in her throat. Her hands, no longer restraining him, found purchase on his waist, gripping him with possessive strength, pulling him flush against her. Her body, lean and powerfully muscled, moved against his, a hungry, demanding rhythm that left him breathless. The bioluminescent patterns on her skin flared, casting an ethereal glow around them, illuminating the raw passion in her eyes. The bond-marked scar on her face throbbed, a pulsing beacon of red light that seemed to mirror the frantic beat of his own heart. He shifted, lifting her, pressing her back against the cool, crystalline wall. Her legs instinctively wrapped around his waist, her body adjusting to his, a perfect, seamless fit. He felt the soft, almost slick texture of her inner thighs against his own, the intimate friction sending shivers down his spine. Her low growl intensified, a guttural sound of pure pleasure and mounting arousal. "You accept the claim, human," she purred against his mouth, her breath hot and shallow. "You take the burden. You take me." He plunged into her, a guttural groan tearing from his throat. She was tight, impossibly hot, a searing inferno that consumed him whole. Nyx arched into him, a sharp cry escaping her lips, her nails digging into his back. The humming from her throat nodes became a furious, almost painful throb, a symphony of raw, primal sensation. Her body contracted around him, a relentless vice that threatened to strip him of his very sanity. "Fuck," Kale gasped, his eyes squeezed shut, lost in the overwhelming surge of pleasure. He moved, hard and fast, driven by instinct, by the heat, by the sheer, unadulterated need to claim her, to possess her, to dominate her, as she had demanded. The pheromones in the air seemed to concentrate, becoming a suffocating cloud of intoxicating musk that made his head spin. Nyx's hips bucked against his, matching his rhythm, her own pleasure raw and unrestrained. Her glowing eyes, wide and unfocused, stared up at the crystal ceiling. "Yes, human, yes! Claim, seal the bond. This is the ritual, the true mastery." Her hands, which had been digging into his back, now moved, tracing patterns on his skin, then raking across his chest, her touch surprisingly gentle amidst the ferocity of their coupling. Her fingers found his neck, pressing hard against his pulse point, mirroring her initial touch in the arena. At the apex of his climax, as he spilled into her, a searing heat bloomed across his chest, just over his heart. He cried out not from pain, but from the overwhelming sensation, a raw, primal surge that connected him to her in a way he couldn't comprehend. He looked down, his eyes widening in shock. A faint glowing pattern, mirroring the bond-marked scar on her face, had appeared on his skin, pulsating with a soft red light. It was small, discreet, but undeniably there. A mark, a brand. Her eyes, unfocused from pleasure, locked onto his. A faint, knowing smile touched her lips, and her throaty hum softened into a deep, contented purr. "Mine," she whispered, her voice rough with satisfaction. "You are marked, human." The claim is now complete. Kale lay against Nyx, his breath coming in ragged gasps, the glowing mark on his chest pulsing faintly. The pheromones in the air still clung, but the intensity had softened, leaving behind a lingering sense of intimate exhaustion. Her body, warm and pliant against his, felt different now, no longer a weapon, but a soft, heavy weight that fit against him with a disturbing completeness. "What the hell was that?" Kale managed, his voice hoarse, touching the faint, pulsing mark on his skin. It didn't hurt, but the sensation was profound, a subtle thrum that resonated deep within him, strangely tied to the soft hum now emanating from her throat nodes. Nyx stirred, her glowing eyes slowly focusing on his. Her voice, when she spoke, was low, almost serene, yet still imbued with the inherent power of her race. That human was the true sealing of the bond. The blood mark. It connects us. Physically, energetically. You initiated the claim in the auction ring, a public declaration. We sealed it in this sacred space, in blood and spirit. It is irreversible. Kale pushed himself up, propping himself on an elbow, staring at her. Irreversible? What are you talking about? It was sex, Nyx. Hot, crazy, desperate sex in a cave while your family tries to kill us. Not a goddamn marriage ceremony. Her lips thinned, a hint of her former warrior arrogance returning. Your human terms are crude. This is not a marriage ceremony. This is a primal bonding. You sought to dominate, to claim. I submitted, for the survival of my lineage, for the necessary undoing of my dishonor, and in doing so, I accepted your claim and bound you in turn. This mark, it signifies your acceptance of my being, and my acceptance of your presence. She reached out, her fingers tracing the mark on his chest, then her own bond mark scar. My disgrace is now shared. My future is now entwined with yours. Shared disgrace? Future entwined? Kale scoffed, though a cold dread began to creep through him. Are you telling me this glowing tattoo means I'm stuck with you? And your homicidal family? Nyx's low purr was almost a laugh. Stuck, as you say. The elders will sense the shift. The blood mark reverberates. It tells them I have been claimed, truly claimed, not just auctioned. It tells them my disgrace has been absorbed by you. This will infuriate them more. They will not only hunt me, but they will hunt you with greater zeal, to cleanse the dishonor from their bloodline, to kill the human who dared to claim a Talar female. Well, isn't that just fantastic? Kale muttered, running a hand through his hair. So, the sex didn't solve anything, it just made things worse. Politically, I mean. It solved everything, human. Nyx countered, her eyes burning with an almost frightening conviction. It made us one. In their eyes, you are now part of the lineage, a blasphemous addition, but a claim nonetheless. You chose. You acted. Now, you must fulfill the obligations of that choice. We are bound. We will face them together. For your life, for my honor, for our continued existence. She pushed herself up, her naked body gleaming in the crystal light, her bioluminescent patterns now settled into a soft, steady glow. She picked up her discarded rags, dressing with a fluid grace that was both disturbing and captivating. The elders will dispatch their elite guard next. Those who carry the blood blades. They will not stop until we are dead, or until I am reclaimed by them, which means they will kill you first. Great, Kale said, his voice flat. He pulled on his own clothes, feeling the strange weight of the mark on his chest. It was real. This was real. So, what's the plan, Empress? You got any hidden escape routes? Or are we just going to sit here and wait for them to come knocking? Nyx finished dressing, her eyes now sharp, focused. There is an ancient maintenance shaft, rarely used. It leads to the lowest levels, to the lava flows themselves. It is dangerous, but it is our only path. And you, Kale, will protect your claim, as I will protect our new bond. This is our truth, now, whether you accept it or not. Her voice was commanding again, but with a new edge of fierce loyalty, a strange intimacy that had not been there before. He was her property, yes, but in a way that made him a vital part of her own being. And she, a burden and a mystery, was now inextricably bound to him. The faint pulse of his new mark seemed to confirm it. A heavy thud vibrated through the chamber floor. The elders had arrived. Not just their guards, but the patriarchs themselves, their ancient, powerful presences, a palpable weight pressing down on the sealed chamber. Kyle felt a tremor run through the crystalline walls. The scent of ozone intensified, signaling high-energy weapons. Looks like settling in time is officially over, Kale muttered, grabbing his blaster. Nyx was already moving, her glowing eyes scanning the wall opposite the entrance. She found a faint seam, almost invisible against the natural rock. "The shaft," she whispered, her voice tight with urgency. "It is narrow. You go first, human. I will cover our retreat." "Right, because that's not suspicious at all," Kale retorted. But he didn't argue. Her instincts were sharp. He squeezed through the narrow opening, the rough stones scraping against his shoulders, then dropped into darkness. He landed hard on a metal grating, the hum of powerful machinery vibrating beneath his boots. Below him, he could see the angry, roiling glow of the lava river. This was one hell of a service tunnel. Nyx slid in after him, her body a sinuous blur, landing lightly beside him. Her hand immediately found his, a firm, possessive grip. "This passage is seldom used. Its energy signature is low. They will assume we are still in the chamber, preparing for battle. We have a brief window." Her voice held a note of grim determination, a warrior accepting her fate, even if it was tied to a sarcastic human. They moved quickly through the cramped, metal-grated tunnels. The heat from the lava flows below, steadily increasing. The air grew thick, humid, smelling of sulfur and molten rock. Kale could feel the new mark on his chest thrumming, a faint echo of the intense heat outside. "So, your elders, they're really going to chase us through hell and back, just because I raised my hand?" "They will pursue until the stain is purged," Nyx stated, her voice devoid of emotion, yet her grip on his hand tightened. "My disgrace, your affront. They view it as a direct challenge to their ritual authority, to the very fabric of our society. You have not just claimed a disgraced female, human, you have claimed a new destiny." Her head tilted. "And by the way, your term hell is quite fitting for the depths of this planet. Did your race somehow foresee the Talar underworld?" Kale snorted. "Just a common expression, sweetheart. Doesn't mean we got secret intel on your planetary plumbing." He peered ahead, seeing a faint light. "Looks like an exit, or another dead end." As they approached the exit, the light grew brighter, revealing a cavern filled with massive, ancient machinery, long dormant, covered in thick dust. And standing amidst the rust-eaten contraptions, blocking their path, were two figures. Elite guards. Their crimson armor was pristine, their blood blades humming with dark energy. "Well, isn't this just perfect?" Kale muttered, raising his blaster. "Looks like your brief window just slammed shut." Nyx released his hand, stepping forward, her bioluminescent patterns flaring to full brilliance, the bond-marked scar on her face pulsing with an enraged glow. Her voice, when she spoke, was not for Kale, but for the guards. "I am Nyx, daughter of the Blood Speaker's line, and this human has claimed me. His claim binds me now. The ritual is complete." "Oh." One of the guards, a massive brute with a scarred helmet, scoffed. "The disgraced one speaks of claims? You are a defilement, Nyx, and the human a sacrilege. You will both die here, to cleanse the taint." He lunged, his blood blade hissing through the air. Nyx met him with a furious cry, her stolen spear a blur of motion. She fought with a desperate, brutal grace, her movements honed by years of training, now fueled by a new, feral rage. KL fired, distracting the second guard, forcing him to engage. The battle was short, violent. The elite guards were formidable, but Nyx fought with the strength of a creature possessed, her every strike imbued with the weight of her shared dishonor, her new bond. She disarmed one guard, snapping his blood blade in half over her knee, then rammed her spear through his chest. The other guard, disoriented by Kale's blaster fire, tried to flee, but Nyx was a swift, merciless shadow. She plunged her spear into his back, watching him fall into the bubbling lava below with a grim satisfaction. She turned to Kale, her chest heaving, her eyes blazing with a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. "They tasted my fury, human. They felt the power of your claim." She moved closer, her hand finding his face, cupping it. "You fought for me. For our bond. You have proven yourself, Kale. The mark, it is strong." Her thumb brushed the newly marked skin on his chest. It pulsed in response, a soft, warm thrumming that resonated with her own deep, contented purr. "Yeah, well, I guess you're not the only one who doesn't like being pushed around." Kale retorted, a wry smile touching his lips. You know, for someone who supposedly owns me now, you sure did a lot of the heavy lifting. Nyx's eyes gleamed, a dark, sensual spark igniting within them. Dominance, human, is not about idleness. It is about proving strength. You have proven yours, and you have proven your devotion to our union. Her voice was low, intimate, a deep rumble that vibrated through his very bones. Her hands slid from his face, down his chest, settling over the faint, glowing mark. The warmth of her touch, combined with the subtle thrumming of the mark, created a dizzying sensation, a quiet but profound sense of connection. Union, huh? Kyle repeated, the word feeling strange on his tongue, yet not entirely unwelcome. We're still in deep shit, you know that? Your elders aren't going to give up. We just bought ourselves a little more time. Time is all we need. Nyx purred, her eyes fixed on his. Time to solidify the bond. Time to learn the depths of our connection. Her other hand rose, her fingers gently tracing the lines of the bond mark scar on her own face, then reaching out to touch the corresponding mark on his chest. The contact sent a jolt through him, a strange electric resonance that hummed between them. This mark, Kale, it is not just a symbol of my past shame. It is now a symbol of our combined strength, a defiance against those who sought to break me. And now, you. He looked into her eyes, seeing not just the fierce warrior, but a raw vulnerability, a desperate hope he hadn't noticed before. He'd stumbled into something far bigger than a quick credit grab. He'd claimed a disgraced alien, and in doing so, he claimed a place in her brutal, ritual-driven world. And somehow, despite the danger, despite the insanity of it all, it felt right. All right, Nyx, Kale said, a grim sort of resolve settling over him. Let's go. Show me this union of ours, and let's see if we can actually survive it. He offered her his hand. Nyx looked at his outstretched hand, then back at his eyes, a flicker of something almost human passing through her luminous gaze. She didn't take his hand immediately. Instead, she leaned in, her humming throat notes vibrating softly against his ear. The path ahead is uncertain, Kale. But know this. You are mine, and I am yours. By blood, by ritual, by defiance, we are bound. And together, we will carve a new path. Through fire, through stars, through any who dare challenge our claim. This is our promise. This is our truth. Her voice was a low, resonant hum, a primal oath that seemed to echo through the very heart of the lava-lit caverns. She pulled back, her glowing eyes locking onto his one last time, a fierce, possessive triumph blazing within them. Then, with a sudden, decisive grip, she took his hand, her touch firm, unwavering. Now, Kyle, let us go. The universe awaits its new claimants.